Hello and welcome to Arn. This is Paul Bromwell. Yes, you know it's me already. And man, I am so excited to be with my friend, my buddy. We've been doing this now for a couple years together, and here we are again today. Ask Arn almost anything. The Hall of Famer, the founder of the Four Horsemen. He's my tag team partner. Arn, how are you this week?
And he's a guy that has a scoop. Want to know what that scoop is?
Oh, what's the scoop, Arn?
Paul got his chompers cleaned up and straightened up and got the braces off. Show him them teeth, boy. Look at there now. Look
Look
at
at that.
there.
Look at that. I don't look like I'm chewing on a lunchbox. I'm not a lunchbox anymore. I got them removed, buddy.
Grown up. You're a grown up now.
Hey, listen, I was late to the party to begin with. Growing up, we didn't have fancy things like dental insurance, Arm, but we got it taken care of. I figured if I have to be on YouTube and whatnot, but yeah, thank you for mentioning that. It kind of embarrassed me a little bit, but all good. And I'm ready to go, man. How are you?
I'm all right.
So we wanted to jump into it right away, and Arn, I think a little bit later we'll talk about the merch and some of the appearances and stuff. Let's get into some of the questions, and we can get into some of that stuff. I'll make sure about halfway through we'll jump into some of that stuff as a nice little breaking point. But yesterday, the wrestling world lost another one, Arn, someone that you've worked with and known through the years. And so I wanted to open the show and allow you to share some comments on the passing of Sid Udy.
Well, it was a shock, as it always is. Obviously, the wrestling world lost a giant. He was definitely a monster. Left a mark on this business that people will remember for decades to come. Had the best look. I would go this far as to say he probably had the best look of anybody in the history of the business. Just see him walking in the room, just a monster. And our thoughts and prayers for his family certainly go out. And very, very sad to hear what a huge loss we woke up with yesterday morning. It was, it's never a shock, but it is a shock. In our business, we beat our bodies up. Our bodies are actually in dog years, aged a lot, you know. But I had no previous knowledge of any illness or anything with Sid, so it was a shock. And like I said, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, to his fans equally as much. And let's just give them some thoughts and prayers that they're going to be needing going forward.
Yeah, Arn, 63 years old, cancer, a young man still, as we sit here at our ages and we think about that. I think about seeing him and Danny Spivey come out with Teddy Long and China White from the Scorpions. I saw Jeffrey Jones. You know Jeff Jones. You worked with him at AEW.
Yeah,
put on
buddy.
his Instagram story that song with the picture of Sid, and it hit me in the feels because as a kid, that was the tune. It was a play. WCW did a play off that tune from the Scorpions for their theme, and yeah, man, everybody's got a lot of great memories and thoughts. Michael Jensen, by the way, going to hit right into you. $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Michael. Very kind. He said, Rip Sid, the definition of wrestling spectacle, almost 7 foot, yet could move like he was 5'10". He could terrify and make you laugh in the same promos. Definitely some historic promos. His feud with Hulk with my high school years was your high as far as when you watched in your high school years. So this hit me a bit. Totally understand, Michael, and thank you so much for the generosity for the show. So a lot of comments there, and Arn, I just know that you wanted to mention that right from the top of the show, and thoughts and prayers to the family, and we'll I guess just continue to transition and continue to take some questions from a lot of you this evening. But thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Just from listening to your comments, it's pretty clear that he had an impact on you, and you will carry those thoughts and feelings about him probably to your grave, when that's the way it's supposed to be. So thank you very much for your kindness towards the program, and we appreciate you.
There you go. Well, listen, there's not really, when you talk about someone's passing and paying honor and respects and things of that nature, and then you have to continue on with a show, there's really never an easy way to do it. But we did hear and get a super chat from a gentleman by the name of Eddie Prather. Arn, have you ever recalled that name, Eddie Prather, before?
I know that name.
You do know that name. And he did send in a super chat, and we're taking a hard right here. But we go with the flow of what the audience is asking at the time. And Eddie says, question for Arn. If you were a sitcom fan growing up, which sitcoms would make your Mount Rushmore? My four would be All in the Family, Sanford and Son, Barney Miller, and the Jeffersons. Some of those wouldn't be allowed to be on TV in today's age. But Arn, were you a sitcom fan at all?
Yeah.
What were some of your favorites?
Well, I'll go with Sanford and Son. I would just bust out laughing. Fred Sanford was like seeing the Iron Sheik walk in the room. I'd just bust out laughing. He didn't have to do nothing. I would probably say, can you post those names up again?
Oh yeah, he went
All in the Family. All in the Family.
He did All in the Family. Barney Miller was another one.
Let's just stay with that for a second. You could not possibly have that show on the air today.
No, not at all.
I mean, it was the absolute most uncouth, unheard of. Archie Bunker is someone you're talking about over the top and out of bounds, big time.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'd have to go with, let's see here. Because there was a lot of good stuff on TV, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Can we count Andy Griffith?
Oh, absolutely. It's half-hour show.
Loved Andy Griffith. Barney Fife was awesome. Ernest T. Bass was my hero.
Have you ever gone and visited? Oh, come on. What was the little Mayberry?
Mayberry. I've been through there.
Okay.
Just one time I wanted to just drive through there to say I had. And yeah, it's a little bitty place. But the characters were so good. Al Bundy's probably the top of the heap.
Oh, Married with Children. Classic.
Talking about funny.
Yeah.
Understated funny. That's Al Bundy.
Between them and Married with Children and The Simpsons, it's what put Fox on the map as a new channel. Remember when they entered the whole network television arena, and those two shows?
Not much of a cartoon guy once I got to be a grown up.
Sure, yeah, but those two shows, I mean, Simpsons. I mean, how long?
Don't get hot.
Incredible.
I bet you watched it too, didn't you?
I didn't. I didn't get to watch a lot of The Simpsons. But that's a whole nother story for another day. But I was a sitcom guy for sure growing up, especially the 80s. The 80s between Different Strokes, Facts of Life, Silver Spoons. Then we get into some of the other shows like Growing Pains and Family Ties. And we could sit here all day. And then the classic action shows, whether they were Simon and Simon or The A-Team or Knight Rider or Fall Guy. I mean, come on. That was my childhood.
And here's going to be my out. But if you think about it for a minute, I started on the road in 82.
Okay.
And I was working every single day. Didn't have much time for TV. So late 70s, early 80s, I would have been available to watch TV. In 82, man, hit the road.
It makes total sense because a lot of guys, people that watch Seinfeld and Friends, they would always ask me if I watched it. And those were the years in the 90s where I was working at the grocery store. I was closing up shop and sweeping floors and bagging groceries. And I never got to see some of those sitcoms first run. So I totally get it.
I didn't know you worked in a grocery store.
I sure did.
What was your job? Assistant manager?
No, I was high school. I started as a bagger, and then I went to checker, and then I ended up working in the back room as a receiver, scanning all the product in the back door.
Were you stock man? Because now remember, I worked in the grocery store too.
I know.
I know about this stuff.
Yeah,
I know about this. Were you like this? Were you like the what would he be called? The guy that was in charge of stocking all the shelves and all that, but the boss.
Yeah, it wasn't the grocery manager or anything like that.
Okay.
That was the title of the guy in our story. He was the grocery manager. He kind of oversaw the stocking shelves, but I did work third shift a few times and fill in for some of those guys that stocked overnight.
So the trucks that backed up to there at
Mhm.
3 o'clock in the morning, I was the muscle head that was unloading the trucks. You were the
Okay.
guy that was sitting there checking it off with a piece of paper.
Yep, the slip, and I had a scan gun by the time I was doing it. And I would go in,
I
I'd count
hate
pallets.
you. I
Yeah,
hate you.
I was the receiver.
I was working my ass off 3 o'clock in the morning in that freezing
Yep,
meat freezer,
there
taking
you go. That was
stacking
me.
those boxes. You, whatever you are.
The best part, Arn, was the Entenmann's guy when he'd bring out the stuff that was a day old. You know, those Entenmann cakes and cheese
Yes.
danishes. He'd bring out a bin and be like, "Oh, this is all expired." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So he'd want credit and you'd scan him. He's like, "By the way, you can have whatever you want out of here." You want to talk about getting fat quick back in those days. Buddy, I was grabbing a half gallon of milk and I had breakfast right there during my first
I
break.
saw a couple of pictures of you when you were a little bit less svelte. Now we have the culprit.
It was Entenmann's, man. Those long strip cheese danishes, buddy. It was
Oh,
awesome.
I hear you. I hear you. How
We
about the
are-
one? How about the ones that had the raspberry down the middle?
Oh, those aren't bad either. But the chocolate frosted donuts, Entenmann's. I mean, come on, it's all good. We're way off the rails here.
Okay, just let's snap back into it.
Okay, Michael Jensen has a question and $10 super chat. Only other question I have for tonight is: did Arn ever wrestle in Germany? Just looking to see what kind of crowd and atmosphere we can expect to see this weekend. It's Bash in Berlin, Arn, for the WWE this weekend. Thank you for answering. So, Arn, any memories of Germany?
Well, there was Otto Bonds actually had a territory in Germany, and I think he owned most of Germany. He was the promoter. So a lot of the guys like JBL and Alex Wright and some of the guys, Fit Finley, which is the prominent name I would probably say that came out of there. They produced a lot of tremendous talent. They used to run tours back in the day. I did, when I was with WCW, we did run an overseas tour, and it was Bunkhouse Bunk and myself against the Nasty Boys. In a tag match. And the first night of the tour, it was somewhere in Germany. They were already in the ring. We came down to the ring, and I popped up on the apron, and I just looked around and barked at the crowd a little bit. When I turned around, there was Knobs right at my grill, hit me with the flipper, and broke my nose the first move of the match. And all I could
That's
hear—
a hell of a memory.
You don't forget those.
Yeah.
The bell hadn't even rung. And I just dropped off the apron, and it was just pouring. And all I could hear in the background was Sags going, "You fat bastard! You fat! What's the matter with you, you fat bastard?" The match hadn't even started. He's cussing his own partner out. So that's a night that you don't forget. So it's one of the 3 or 4 nose breaks that I had. They can take responsible for it in Germany. German fans are great. Obviously, it's going to be a WWE show, correct?
It is. It's going to be a hell. These international shows the crowd are always next level. They don't disappoint.
Around the world, period, loves them some WWE. That's, go any country, anywhere in the world, they love WWE.
I hate to say this, and I'm right there in putting myself in this, but I think as U.S. citizens have become a little bit spoiled when it comes to wrestling, as far as the amount of opportunities that we have to go see WWE, AEW, whoever it is. Oh, they were here last year. Oh, they were here 6 months ago. Man, when it goes to a country or town that it hasn't been, town in one of those countries that it hasn't been in a long time, you see the passion, you feel it when you're watching. It's electric. And and as someone sitting at home watching it, you're just overwhelmed. It makes the show even better to see that type of audience that's just wound up, wild, and bringing the energy. It's awesome.
You should be there.
Oh, how about
Sitting right inside Gorilla, right off the stage. It's something to behold, and we do a tremendous business there. And it's because we hadn't been there maybe at all to some places. I've only once to some places. Maybe it was 10 years ago we were there for some places, but when you watch it every week, that quality product every week after week after week, then you get to go to a live show. I can imagine.
for sure, for sure. So looking forward to a fun show this week, this coming weekend. CG Artiste, my buddy Charlie, he says, "Oh my God, I love Sanford and Son. I still watch that and laugh just as hard. Same with All in the Family." Arn, I was just having that conversation the other day. That show would not be on the air today. So there you go. Scrolling down here, looking for some more questions. Let's see here. Shannon says, "I graduated from the same high school as Don Knotts. He was from Morgantown, West Virginia, my hometown."
Really?
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Morganton, that's where West Virginia football is, right?
Oh yeah, Morgantown. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. West Virginia Mountaineers. Shannon, do they have anything like recognizing that Don Knotts was from there? You have to let us know in the chat, in the comments. Like, he attended here, picture on the wall. I'm just
Oh,
curious.
they got to. They got to have a statue or something.
Eddie Prather said he learned his life lessons from Al Bundy. So like that.
Eddie, you're a sick man.
Oh man. Jim LaMotta says, "Hey guys, not sure if you'll see this. We saw it, but I had the chance to meet Arn at WrestleCon, and I sincerely appreciate his kindness. Meeting him was the highlight of the entire SummerSlam weekend for me."
Nope, it was for me.
Oh,
And getting to meet people like yourself finally after 42 years in the business, I finally get to shake your hand, hug your neck, take a picture with you, shoot the shit a little bit about whatever story you want to talk about, and make it a special event. Because all those years I was working every day, guys, I never had an opportunity to be part of a meet and greet or anything like that, and where I could just say thank you. You guys gave me a career, and you're supporting Brock, and going forward, you'll help him have a career. Without wrestling fans who are awesome, we wouldn't have a business. So we owe everything we have, the Anderson family, anyway, to you guys. Thank you very much.
well said, Arn. Arn, we're going to move on to Dallas Dalton here in the chat. And he says, "Arn, when you were first learning how to work, what was the hardest thing for you to do? And what was something that just came more naturally to you?"
Pacing was easy for me to figure out. I figured out pretty early on you needed to sell everything that was happening in the ring and don't skip over anything to move on to the next thing till you got whatever reaction you were looking for in the first place. If I punch a guy in the nose, I don't want to come right behind it and do something else. Let's see the effects of punching him in the nose and let the audience tell you how they felt about it. Some will like it, some won't like it, and it'll give you a direction on how to have your match going forward. Well, they like him or they like me. They don't like him. I'm going to figure out a way to punch him in the nose again. And just stuff like that. What was it? What was the question exactly?
He asked you
what was hard and what was easy.
Hard? Yeah, and what was easy? You took to it. You said pacing. You took to pretty well, but what was the tougher for you to pick up?
It's hard to accept that you can't throw a drop kick, or you can't do a head scissors, or you can't do any of that. Now, and later in life, I was glad I never had the aptitude for that because of the danger factor. The risk versus reward quotient started to filter in there. But, I tried to do a drop kick once and I went, God, I can't do this. I didn't even attempt to do a head scissors, which were big moves when I first started in 82. That was a big flashy move. Certainly coming off the top with a cross body was not going to be pretty. So I had to figure out what my limitations were and just work within my limitations.
But that's something that you did, Arn. You knew your weaknesses, or and you knew your strengths, and you played to your strengths. And you were one of those wrestlers that proved you didn't have to have all that, as they say nowadays, flip flop and fly.
Well, but let me tell you the key. Now, if you've got a knee in the head, a punch, a stomp, a forearm in the back of the head, a slam on the arm, whatever tools that you picked and put in your tool belt, since you couldn't do the flashy stuff, you better do those 10 or 12 things good and 100% credible. And that's how you got away with doing the less flashy stuff. The 10 or 12 things you do are 100% rock solid.
There you go. We have a couple super chats. An Instagrammer wrestling historian, our friend, he has an interesting, I think this is a fun question. He said, Arn, how would you have felt if you were the one that caused the Undertaker's streak to end at WrestleMania 28? Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Was it 18? I can't even do my count my numbers here in Roman numeral. So we know you came in and you did in the whole with Ric Flair match. But what if it would have been on your shoulders? Okay, you're gonna spine buster him, and then we're gonna let that be the end of the streak.
I'd still be running around screaming, running around that stadium doing laps. That's how I'd have felt. Are you kidding me?
Right.
That would have been the biggest honor that my career could have ever had. Now, once the audience shook their head for a second and realized what had happened, I would have probably got hung right there in the stadium. But can you imagine? Because for a minute, and we've talked about this a couple times on the show, for just a brief second, they thought we were going to pull that off because no one saw me get there. It was done so well, and they hid me so well and got me there to where it was almost like magic. I just appeared sliding in the ring and nobody saw it because they were watching the match. So the reaction that I saw when I hit that thing and rolled out and Rick covered him, there were some people counting with them. And it was like, damn, they bought this. And when he kicked out, of course, it went south, but shit, man, that's something you hang a career. That's something you hang your entire everything on. You kidding me?
Since we're talking about this, and I'm sure we've talked about in the past, but we do so many shows and things like that. Some stuff just goes in and flies out the other side. Lesnar breaking the streak ultimately. Yay, nay, should have never happened. And if anybody had to do it, Lesnar being the guy. Your thoughts?
I don't think anybody should have ever done it. But now I was going to take that one if you were going to give it to me. But no, for me, he is so special. He is so important to that locker room. And I just got to see him at SummerSlam backstage, talk to him for a little bit. He is the most respected guy that walks that hall. He has the biggest following amongst the guys who just love and respect him. You know, he's something special. He's a locker room leader. He's everything that you want to be the figurehead of your company, and that's what he is. I personally think he could have went on and retired that streak undefeated. It certainly did not hurt anybody that put him over right in the middle with his finish the day of WrestleMania. You were a bigger star putting Undertaker over right in the middle after it was over than you were going in. That's for damn sure.
So Taker going over on you, it made you a bigger star.
Oh, just the fact that I pulled an offensive move on the Undertaker that almost won. Forget about almost. Just the fact that I stuck him with that spine buster, I was a bigger star the next day than I had been the entire time I was in the business.
Isn't that something? Retired, all the stuff that you've done in your career, and that you were that moment, people still talk about it. I'm sure every time you're still interviewed outside of this podcast, they want to talk about that moment with you.
Yeah, it's because the entire package was done so well by everybody involved.
All right, Riddler 3579. Riddler is faithful like clockwork to this show, and not only that, he's also a faithful giver to this show, and he has a super chat. So I want to thank you, Riddler 3579. He said, I had the pleasure of attending many WCW promos. Arn, Rick, Sting, Dusty, and Johnny B. Bad had the best interactions with fans. So there you go. He ranks you as one of the best fan interactions.
I am honored and flattered, and thank you very much to be put in that group. Wow.
Look at those names. By the way, Johnny B. Bad, Mark Marrow, still sometime this fall. I know he has a book coming out when it gets closer to his release. I think the three of us are going to have to jump on here and have some fun together. So keep on the lookout for that, guys. The Gun Show says, Arn, who is your favorite wrestler today? Female wrestler, tag team, stable? Are there a couple performers that you think about now? We obviously know Brock is your number one, but outside of your son, who would you say are some of your favorite performers right now?
I like AJ Styles. I like Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yes. Hopefully he'll be back soon. He's been injured, but it's from his social media, it looks like he's on the way back, maybe sooner than later.
Yeah, I hope so. He's a class act.
Nice guy. I've gotten to meet him too. Nicest guy.
I want him to land on his feet and be used properly because I think he's got a huge upside. This may be whatever. This may Cody.
Of course.
I don't want to get nauseating with that, but I just think that he had a goal. He believed in himself. He's made that dream pay off, and he is doing an incredible job for the industry at large, period. That's the ones that come to mind right away. You've got to give Roman Reigns his due. I like the big bruiser that's the champion now, with the German.
Oh yeah, Gunther.
I like Gunther. I like. He reminds me of Fit Finley. He makes you fight him.
Oh yeah, physical.
Yeah, he'll beat the piss out of you if you don't fight him. But if you fight him, you have a great match. That's what I kind of.
Would you like mixing it up with a guy like that, just slapping you as hard as you can, and just
now?
I mean, back in your day, if it was a dream match, Arn and Gunther.
Yeah, I would, because that's exactly what Ronnie Garvin did.
Oh, true.
He beat the crap out of you. He beat the crap out of me so many times. I mean, I can't tell you. Manny Fernandez was snug and stiff. You'd have to fight him. I loved it because it immediately became realer than real. That's the thing, realer than real. And buddy, it wasn't hard to get physical when a guy's smacking the shit out of you as soon as the bell rings.
And pretty much now I can lay it in. He's laying it in, I'm laying it in, and we're just gonna go at it. And these people are gonna get a show.
Yep. And you know what? You never came through the curtain and went, well, damn, we beat the crap out of each other. You loved it. You were glowing. Because that's what we do.
So cool. We have I've already made one hard right turn. We're going to make another hard right turn. Leave it to Darren Staley. This is why I was kind of smirking a little bit earlier when you were talking about your wrestlers. Darren, I can't believe I got to put this up on the screen. Arn, here you go. Arn had great nipples.
Oh, no.
Which legend does Arn believe had better nipples, if any? He can refuse to answer, and you can refuse to ask.
Darren.
Oh man.
I'm not going to go there.
Nipples? What? Oh man. Okay, we're hiding that one. Darren, you had your moment in the sun and you lost it. We'll move on. Corbin Rogers. He says, I met Arn in Knoxville, Tennessee last year at Fanboy Expo. Class act. He made sure that I liked the picture before I even walked away. Thank you so much, Arn.
It's all about you guys. Guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. And I love being up close and personal and being able to thank you in person for all you've done for me. So I enjoyed that as much as you did. Trust me, even more so. And appreciate you guys coming down and supporting us and supporting the show, and just this new family and relationship that I have with all you guys. It's not something I take lightly. I appreciate every one of you.
So kind. And you know what, Arn, we're at the 30-minute. I'll let more super chats and chats pile up. I have a few in the queue that I want to mention here in a minute, but I thought this is good a time as any. Somebody thought they'd be funny in the chat and say, is Brock still wrestling? Yes, Brock Anderson still wrestling. He was just wrestling in Salisbury, AML. How was the show this past Sunday? I heard that he and CW retained the tag titles.
They did, and it was an excellent show. Those guys do a great job promoting, and it was I got to see Dolph Ziggler was there, and Bubba Dudley was there, and Brock and CW had a double count out decision, but they retained the tag titles, and they're doing a great job. Very proud of them.
And then something super exciting this Thursday night, MLW. You can watch it YouTube, Fight TV. Check out their website, MLW. Thursday night, New York. Brock, CW Anderson. How excited are you about this in the big debut?
Big time. The Andersons debuting. Very excited. And it's a brand new company. So far, they have been very, very kind to us, and we appreciate them using us. And Brock coming to New York, I'm sure he's very excited. CW has been there. He's a veteran. Appreciate everything he's doing, helping to groom Rock. And I will be watching it on Fight TV probably, like I hope you guys will be. I think it's available on YouTube as well.
Yeah, you can check out their website. They have a link called Watch, and it breaks down everywhere that you can watch MLW. You mentioned that one, and then you told me also, Paul, they're going to be in Atlanta at Center Stage, somewhere you're very familiar with, September the 14th. It's a Saturday night, and that one is for MLW as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, if that building could talk, imagine the stuff that happened over the years in that building. I mean, it was the home of WCW for the Saturday night show forever. Not sure if I will attend that one or not. I would love to go and just walk around and see the building and have a few memories. We'll see about that. They will be there, and Brock for sure knows it's like being in Greensboro. He knows the huge ramifications of wrestling in that building with all the history that's there.
It's going to be a great event, so make sure if you had the opportunity to check it out. And then I just wanted to mention real quick here, Arn, before we move back to some of the questions, WrestleCade is coming. It's hard to believe we're about ready to jump into September. You and I, we have an affinity for the month of September. We have a link there. But man, November's going to be here, and it's a huge show. The next really, really big one. You think about WrestleCon and then WrestleCade. It's going to be there. So if you haven't gotten tickets, this is your opportunity to get tickets. Check out WrestleCade. Arn and Brock are both going to be there for that, and so many others as well. So make sure you check out that. And just wanted to make sure I mentioned it. We'll continue on because we got a lot of great questions, and I know I see you looking there. Is there any other events you wanted to bring up here, Arn, while we're doing this?
Well, this one would just be for fun, and this might even be something you would want to go to. AJ Styles is working with some other like athletes and stuff to have it's a softball game, but it's going to be appearances, meet and greets, wrestlers are going to be there, all kind of guys. Like September I want to say it's the 21st. Now that may be a move-in day. You have to go to their website and figure it out. Maybe the 22nd of September.
That's like a Sunday. Yeah.
Charity softball game, signings, I think what's the kid? God, he's an adult. Damon that played for the Red Sox.
Oh, Johnny Damon.
Johnny Damon, I think, is going to be there, but there's going to be different athletes and stuff. That's up around Atlanta, Lawrenceville, I believe is where it is.
Okay.
I mean, that would be a fun weekend. I don't know if it's a Saturday, Sunday, or if Saturday's just a move-in day, but it'll be fun. Be a celebrity softball game and stuff like that. So that's coming up. They're expecting a huge crowd for that, and I can imagine.
Yeah, it looks September 22nd. This is a quick Google. If you guys see more on it while you're sitting here watching, please let me know. It looks like Lawrenceville, Georgia, AJ Styles, DDP, Johnny Manziel, Butterbean, and over 50 other major stars in the Celebrities versus Veterans softball tournament. And the location will be Coolray Field. Come out and join us. So,
see, you're so much better about giving them the specifics than me. You let me stumble through this.
Buddy, I just Googled a couple words. That's the beauty.
You just made it the event it's supposed to be made out to be. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what to say about it.
He's sitting there with his crayons and coloring book. Softball, Damon.
We need a division of labor with this group, or this is not going to work.
It's all good. Thankfully, I just sit there and have the Google button, man. You don't have that luxury, so it's all good. All right, so that event, softball. All right, so let's get back on track. So we'll have to check that out. Man, I would love to do that. That's right after your birthday on the 20th.
That's right. And you got a birthday when?
The 18th.
There it is.
We're 2 days away from each other.
You could make that a birthday trip.
You know what? That'd be a lot of fun.
I mean, if it's I don't know.
What are flights to, how far is Lawrenceville from the Atlanta airport?
I want to say it's like 40 miles.
Oh, that's not bad. All right. Well, hey, you never know. We'll have to take a look.
Do they show events for the 21st, or is that just a move-in day?
Let me see. Let me go back to that link I was looking at. Nope, that's some other event. I have to find the main website.
Maybe one of the folks that are tuned in that are good at research could check that out for us.
Do we have a good research guy here? Is there a research guy in the house? I don't know. Let me know if you're there in the comments. I'm waiting. So we'll go back to that. Let's go to some questions while we're waiting. Shannon, our friend from Morgantown, West Virginia, says, yes, they have a statue downtown in front of the old Met Theater and have a street named after him. Yes, Morgantown is college town home of the West Virginia Mountaineers, but yeah, they have it all decked out
and they should.
Yeah.
You're talking about the Andy Griffith Show. What a run they had. What were they on the air? 15 years or something?
Oh, at least CG. Yeah.
They're still on. You could cut them on late at night.
Oh, yeah.
Some of those high channels on cable, and it'll still pop up.
CGRT says, by the way, the three of us share a B-Day week. My birthday is September 22nd. So lots of birthdays. Eddie's is the 14th. Holy shit. Virgos are just everywhere. We got a lot of September birthdays. So there you go. Guys, let me know if you do find out about that event, because it sounds like it's pretty badass. And I want to make sure that we advertise that properly. So Shannon, thank you for sharing that with us for sure. ATF Media says, I went to the same high school as the Steiners. While they went to Michigan, which is a far superior to all other athletic programs, including Georgia, they don't punch like hands of stone. Oh, so he had to get his little dig in there, Georgia.
Apparently he hasn't been watching television.
He has. He's just trying to stir the pot, ATF Media.
You know that fly-by-night Michigan Wolverines football team would have never won it if Georgia hadn't got screwed out of being in that Final Four. You know that.
Oh, here we go. We're
hadn't lost a game in 2 years. Come on, man.
It's college football season for sure. Oh, all right, we'll keep going here. Darren Staley, Barney's salt and pepper suit is on display in Mount Airy, North Carolina. We're going to find out more Andy Griffith trivia than we ever wanted to know. Chris Orlando says, Arn, with 12 teams making the college football playoff this season, who are your sleeper teams? Now, I know you watch Georgia pretty hardcore. Are you paying attention to anybody else really outside of that?
Oh, I tell you what, I think it does offer some of those teams that are in the smaller divisions that are undefeated and don't make it to the finals. I think it's cool for them. Gives them an opportunity. In the past, things that like UCF and some of those teams that have been undefeated in the past and didn't make it into the playoffs just because of strength of schedule. I think it will go through the national championship as always. Will go through the SEC.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I need to do? I think maybe I need to commit to watching more college football this year, Arn.
How
I'm
come?
all in on the NFL, but I've never really dug all the way in on college football.
Well, if you have a team in the mix that is really your home team, your legitimate favorite team, it really gets fun.
I watch a lot of Pittsburgh. I mean, I'm a Pittsburgh fan of everything. Their college football teams, they won the ACC a couple years ago with Kenny Pickett, and that was cool. But they're not one of these top teams you hear about all the time. Alabama, Georgia, and so it seems like there's so many SEC teams that just dominate every year. And I don't know. Maybe that's part of the reason why it's hard for me to want to get dialed in when you have the NFL, where I feel like it's a lot more parity.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the thing about it is you have those teams like South Carolina every few years will screw Georgia out of their season. Georgia will be undefeated. They'll roll into South Carolina and get upset. I mean, there's those teams that upset the team that should be winning the whole thing will get beat by, a team that just nobody would have called it. That's what makes the SEC so much fun.
Yeah, it's something. It's like it's a powerhouse conference for sure. Let's keep it moving. I want to get to as many of these questions as I can. Lil Patty says, Arn, how do you feel about the U.S. Express being inducted to the Hall of Fame? Barry and Mike.
Both deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Their body of work over time as singles and as a team, but those guys had great careers and great performers, very dependable. Barry Windham, should be in that talk conversation of some of the greatest of all time. Mike was a very, very solid wrestler, great athlete, two sport at Syracuse. And he was a guy that when he stepped through the ropes in a professional wrestling ring, you always knew you were going to get quality, and you did.
I want to go back and just mention real quick, and thank you for sharing those thoughts, Arn. Eddie Prather, I mentioned his birthday. It was actually his mom's birthday in September. She would have been 84 this year. So I just wanted to mention that and correct that for sure. Eddie, I love and appreciate you, and I know how much she meant to you for sure. Uh, Arn will go back to college football because Michael Jensen has a question, and he says, does Arn celebrate Georgia Tech beating Florida State, or is it just all about the Bulldogs?
I got to be a little bit, yeah, it's all about the Bulldogs. I got to be a little quiet about what I do with Florida State because that's Aaron's team.
Ooh, okay.
Even and her mother went to college there, so got to be a little careful how much you go. But you know what? That was to me. I look at that as being a big upset. I
For
don't know
sure.
how. I don't know
They were
how.
ranked, what, 13th? Florida State was what, 13th going into the.
I don't know. See. That's where I haven't caught up. I haven't done my
Yeah.
pre research on. Somebody had to tell me what the initial ratings and rankings were. I didn't know Georgia was number one. Doesn't the national champion usually open the season as number one until something happens?
Yeah, but Georgia opened up this year.
Should
So
have been Michigan, shouldn't it? If all things considered.
oh, we're gonna have some fun this college football season. Good stuff. I mean, should have, right? In theory. That's
Well,
how
in theory, I mean,
yeah.
why wouldn't they be? They
Yeah.
won the national championship. They haven't lost. They should be
Darren,
number
Darren
one.
said Michigan did lose a shit ton of seniors. So
Well, but what does that mean?
and
They
Andrew
met,
says Georgia would have beat Michigan last year in the playoffs. So here we go. All the woulda, coulda, shouldas. We're gonna have a fight in the group chat. I love it.
but I love it. I love football.
It's like moving on. So here's a wrestling question. We'll mix in a wrestling question. I'm very interested to what you think about this. Kyle Day, what's your Cornette says that people in AEW don't necessarily listen to advice. You worked there. You worked with a lot of the folks there. I know you have a lot of fond thoughts of some of the talent that you work with. What are your thoughts on some of the talent and listening and things like that? You were a coach there. You got to work with Cody. Just what are your general overall thoughts on the talent and working with coaches?
When I was with Cody, I had an opinion because I knew it was the flagship of the show at the time. So I had an opinion, and sometimes Cody didn't like, I'm sure, the opinion that I had. Sometimes I told him he was being too generous. And I would tell him in front of his opponent, and these were top guys. I felt like if I was going to be his legitimate coach, I needed to explain to him that we all look at things different, and it's easier to look at another match from the outside looking in. It's hard when you're a babyface and a lead babyface with a company to say, hey, I got to go out here and kick your ass. That needs to come from agent, producer, Tony Khan, somebody else. I do feel like, what was the question again? God damn it. I'm having
Just
a bad
as far
day.
as the talent and how well they take.
Oh, did they listen? Did they listen? Yeah. Well, and when Cody left, I got to be honest with you, unless somebody, and Powerhouse Hobbs was a guy that would come in every week that he had a match, he would ask me, this is what I want to do. What do you think? Sometimes we go out to the ring and look at something, but unless they ask me talent, I didn't go to them and volunteer because I was not a agent / coach / producer for the company. I was just Cody's coach. So basically, I went to the ring with Brock and stuff, but that wasn't my job on a weekly basis to set up matches and stuff. So if they asked me, I had advice for them, and something could help them, I would do my best to do that.
But otherwise, your role was different while you were there.
It was.
Yeah.
It really was. I was kind of in limbo. It wasn't because now when Cody left, I just became a guy that had matches with different guys and all that stuff. I just was kind of in limbo and with Brock, which I don't think is, everybody knows. I think they just assumed I stepped into a coach's role with the other guys. And that company was based on and built on the talent being more in charge of their destiny and them setting their own stuff up. That was what they liked about it, what made it different. It wasn't structured with producers and all that to help guide them. They were doing their own stuff. And so I understood that. I just kind of stayed out of the way.
To your point, the structure of it was built more on freedom and
artistic freedom by the talent. Put your own stuff together, do your own stuff. We're not going to have 8 agents riding herd on you, which was fun.
Right. You've obviously seen that model and it works, and it's the WWE obviously have perfected it. So there you go. MP2833 says, God bless you, Arn Anderson from Baltimore, Maryland. Just wanted to share that with you. So
thank you. I'll take all the blessings from God I can get, my friend. Sent back at you.
There you go. I am the 83. I just recently watched When Giants Walk Here. What are your memories of wrestling at the Dorton Arena?
Hot, no air blowing. Ask anybody about Dorton Arena, see what they say, especially the summertime. There was just no air circulating. It was a cement building. There literally was no air. And the dressing rooms were a floor down, and it was all cement, no windows. It was hot as shit. But the fans didn't seem to mind because it was, when I first got there in 85, we were running Raleigh every Wednesday. And it would do anywhere from half a house to 3/4 of a house. And then you would have your big show, you build towards your big show. You would fill it up occasionally. but it was nothing to have a half to 3/4 full every Wednesday, which is unbelievable every week.
Yeah, every week. Now, I need to check that out. I need to watch that. I've heard about the documentary, but I'd love to get my hands on it and be able to watch it. If you guys know if it's readily available to watch online, please throw that in the chat and let me know, because I did see some news on it, and I would like to check that out for myself as well.
What is that channel that's like local? They have it in every area, but it's like a
public television
channel.
Yeah.
I think it's available on that, but
Okay.
I'm not sure that we have that. If you find out how to watch it, let me know, will you?
Yeah, I will for sure. And that way you can check it out too. Bassman, he says, Arn, the heel turn with Barry back in 1988 is my favorite turn. After the entire bit ended with you guys unmasking Dusty, did you immediately realize what a huge thing you had just accomplished?
Yes, sir. And I knew by the reaction of the fans that we were going to have another flame up of the company and the business. Barry was such an over babyface. People loved him.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I would love us to maybe chat with Barry on this at some point too.
Well, that would always be an honor and a pleasure.
For sure. Listen, I knew we could count on our guys here. Ready?
Yep.
Bryant Haremza. It's on the PBS app and on the PBS website.
Attaboy, Bryant.
I know, man. We can always count on him. And
you guys are so smart. I feel so stupid.
Darren, well, let's see here. This one first. Darren Staley says, "Stop showing off Haremza."
Keep showing off Haremza. We need you.
I just clicked on Blair Hathaway. He wants to know, do you have a favorite quote from a movie?
Make my day.
Go ahead, punk. Make my day.
Yeah, how can you not love that?
Yeah, a little Dirty Harry. AC Garner. Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair were great, but Arn Anderson, you, sir, were in a class of your own. Thank you for being the very best.
So you got the check in the mail, obviously.
Oh, man. Cookies are on the way to the front door.
You're the man. Very nice of you, sir. Thank you.
Carl with a curiosity question. Arn, will you ever sign a WWE contract again?
How much is it going to be for?
That's right. Let's hear how many
Never say never.
That's right. They always say that in this business.
Get some substantial zeros on my shit and we'll talk.
Carl's all about the business questions. He has two more. Carl, he wants to know, Arn, are you currently on a Legends contract?
Nope.
And then he says, Arn, do you own the rights to the Four Horsemen?
Certainly do. The trademark.
That's why we can sport our shirts with the Horseman logo, buddy.
That's
and
exactly
the hat.
right.
And by the way, yeah, go ahead.
No, anything to do with Four Horsemen and professional wrestling, that's what I own.
And OneTrueSport.com is the place where you can, the only place you can find the authorized logo of the Four Horsemen with merch. And we got some classic designs, more to come, and some new designs as well. Arn, you're still sporting. You love that shirt. And we just put up a zip-up hoodie of that design. It's on the back of the hoodie. We're putting hoodies now. We're getting closer to September, October. A little cool. It'll start to cool down here in the Northeast and other places of the country. We're adding hoodies. Telly's got a few hoodies. Some of the other guys do. Horsemen. But keep your eyes out because, Arn, and I'm going to send you one. That shirt right there, I'm going to get you a zip-up hoodie with that logo right on it.
Beautiful. Now, let's don't forget about the action figures.
Go ahead.
The books.
Go ahead and chill. And the books for sure. You got the books. I still need to grab. We're still working on getting those certain hardcover books shipped. It's in process. I promise you that. The ones that were from the vault. But yeah, man, you still have plenty of the soft cover books, don't you?
I do. And I have them at events, which makes it easier for people just to grab them right there. some that aren't set with the whole computer thing and know how to order stuff.
Yeah.
Just simplify it for them, Paul. Let them know how they get the stuff.
Yeah. So just onetruesport.com is where you're going to find everything. Now, as far as the books go, Arn, when you see him on the road, on the show, or on the circuit, he has the paperback copies of the books. But pretty soon, we're going to add to onetruesport.com those hardcovers. So keep an eye out for there. Again, the shipment that we have, it's we just need to get our hands on it. It's in process, and it's taking a little longer than I like, but just bear with us on that. Arn, I thought about you because I sat with you at a show, and I found today in my collection something I bought from you a long time ago, and it's you. You got the red TV title, and it looks like the national tag team title.
So when I held with Ole, yeah.
Yeah, and you signed it for me quite a while ago. But I love this picture, man.
I am a damn good looking man, ain't I?
You're something special.
And I didn't even get no fake teeth.
No. Now people are going to think I got Roman Reigns fake teeth over here or something.
Oh, don't say that about the Island Boys. That's not good karma.
Tom Morris says, "Hey, Arn and Paul, does Kevin Sullivan make it into the WWE Hall of Fame?" I sure hope so. Go ahead, Arn.
I think he's earned his place. He has been, Kevin's been a booker for decades that people didn't even know about. You know, he has put together a lot of good angles and stuff. And my God, when did he start wrestling? 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
79?
Yes.
Something like that. I mean, he's had a long career.
It was early 74, I think he started. And then he moved, and WWF, he was all over. And that was the beautiful thing about Kevin. He was influenced by so many in the business. And what a mind. I love doing that show with you, by the way.
Oh, it was such an honor. I mean, Kevin was a friend of mine. He was a good friend. I mean, like in this business, we've said before, we don't come off the road and get on the phone with each other and talk to each other and go have dinner with each other. I mean, that time is on the road. But he was a guy that I really considered a friend. And so sorry that he's gone.
CG, my buddy Charlie, Kevin definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Hopefully now with Triple H in charge, he'll make that happen sooner than later. I still think that you need to go in by yourself to the WWE Hall of Fame. Not just as part of the Four Horsemen, but by yourself, the Enforcer.
Well, I had a great career. I don't feel like anything is missing. I'm still getting to sit here and talk to you about wrestling, which 42 years later, that's a pretty good run. But thank you for the kind words. I do have the one ring with the Horsemen, and that's probably my claim to fame. That was probably the highest spot of my career. The highest point of my career was with the Horsemen, so it was apropos.
As you said, never say never. And there's a guy in charge now that is a huge Arn Anderson fan now, then, and forever. So we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. James Byers, do you think Larry Zbyszko could have or should have been a Horseman in 1991? Rick, Arn, Barry, and Larry could have been amazing.
Oh, Arn. Why can't I be a Horseman? Because Larry, you won't get off your ass and get in here and do anything. Oh,
man. I knew that was coming. Thank you so much for setting me up like that. That was great, James. Let's see. We got 2 minutes left in the show. Midnight Express, Dave O definitely needs to be in the Hall of Fame. What do you think, Arn?
Oh God, yeah. Yes. If anybody should be in there, they should be in there. They had a great match with everybody they ever worked with, and they were great people. It's hard to believe Cornette's not in the Hall of Fame, isn't it?
He's got a Hall of Fame set of lungs on him. I mean, come on.
Well, I tell you what, occasionally I listen to his podcast, like when we're driving to a town or something, me and Brock, just to get in the wrestling mood. And he just goes on a tangent and will just talk for 3 minutes and never take a breath, never stagger step, never misspeak, never anything. It's just a continual thought after thought after thought after thought. It's amazing.
It's amazing how sharp, and he's so sharp. To your point,
His details are always right. He is sharp, cutting edge, everything he does. You never stumble over a word. You never have a pause. You never have anything unless it belongs there, and
and he's entertaining as hell. He's got fun names for people, and he is something else, man. He is an entertainer, and what a career he's now having in the podcast space. It's incredible.
Well, and I would love to see him go in with Dennis standing there. We can't have Bobby, but Cornette could certainly make you think you got Bobby standing there, when he got through putting them over. Those guys should definitely be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Eddie Prather said Cornette and Gary Hart, Bobby Heenan, and J.J. Dillon would be my Mount Rushmore managers. That's a pretty fat list.
Yes, it is. Be hard to argue that one, my man.
Well, guys, this has been absolutely fantastic. We're at the top of the hour, and we cannot thank you enough. And we've had so many of you watching, whether it's here on Twitter, on YouTube, and we appreciate it so much. One more thing that I wanted to mention, and that is Ultra Pro Wrestling from Hyper Focus Games. You know that Arn's going to be a downloadable character. By the way, so is Tully, so is Magnum, so is Demolition. So many guys. I can't even stop Paul Orndorff, which, by the way, we got our first Paul Orndorff and Nikita Koloff merchandise on OneTrueSport.com. I want to throw that in. But these are all the wrestlers that you're going to be able to play on this brand new video game. It's based on that classic Nintendo 64 game. Check it out. They have a Patreon, patreon.com/Ultra Pro Wrestling. You get access to exclusive content. Our buddy Hal Haney, who's done some amazing artwork, is designing all the wrestlers. And so it's coming in 2025. Really excited about it. Check it out, ultraprowrestling.com. Arn, this has been a lot of fun, man. And me and you are going to get back together. So take out your pens, pencils, and or pull up your Google Calendar. 2 times in September. We're going to do this on Tuesday, September 10th at 6 o'clock Eastern, and Tuesday, September 24th at 6 o'clock Eastern. We'd love to have you all back here as part of this, sitting around the virtual living room of Arn Anderson. And for those of you that are traveling champions, that's right, the top tier at One True Sport, in 15 minutes, we are going to have Arn Anderson, the post show with all of you, and it's going to be a little different. It's on Zoom. Your faces are on there, and you're asking the questions. I'm just there to hand it off to you, and you get to talk one-on-one with Arn Anderson as a perk of being a member at OneTrueSport.com. So go grab a cold beverage, grab a drink, because we're going to have a good time together. And then at the top of the hour, right back here, it's Medusa, and she's here paving the way with her co-host, Andrew Hermis. They're going to have a good time. And it's Ask Medusa Anything, Arn. What do you think about that?
Good luck. You better ask nicely.
Oh, man, it's going to be so good. So listen, I want to thank all of you for being here with us this evening. We'll do another Ask Arn Almost Anything at the end of September, but join us on the 10th. We'll do the Ask on the 24th. But for those traveling champions, we'll see you in about 10 minutes. On behalf of the founder of the Four Horsemen, my longtime close personal friend, Arn Anderson, this is Paul Bromwell, and we'll see you in 2 weeks right here on the Four Horsemen Network and One True Sport.